There was a time where the world spoke one language and used the same words, but as people migrated eastward, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia, and they settled there. They began to talk about construction projects. They spoke about making bricks and baking them thoroughly. They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. They spoke about building a great city with a tower that reaches the skies. They said this will bring us together and keep us from scattering over the world. The Lord then came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. God then said, "Look, if they can accomplish this when they have just begun to take advantage of their common language and political unity, just think of what they will do later. Nothing will be impossible for them. Come, let's go down and give them different languages." In that way the Lord scattered them all over the earth, and that ended the building of the city. That is why the city was called Babel. It was where the Lord confused the people by giving them many languages, thus scattering them across the earth. Arphaxad was born when Shem was 100 years old. This was 2 years after the flood. Shem lived 500 years after that and had other sons and daughters in this time. Shelah was born when Arphaxad was 35 years old. Arphaxad then lived another 403 years, had other sons and daughters in this time too. When Shelah was 30 years old, his son Eber was born. Shelah lived 403 years after his son's birth and had other sons and daughters in this time. Peleg was born when his father Eber was 34 years old. Eber lived 430 years after the birth of his son and had other sons and daughters in this time. At 30 years old, Peleg's son Reu was born. After the birth of his son, Peleg lived another 209 years and had other sons and daughters in this time. At 32 years old, Reu's son Serug was born. After the birth of Serug, Reu lived another 207 years, having other sons and daughters in this time. Serug was 30 years old when his son Nahor was born. Serug lived 200 years after Nahor was born and had other sons and daughters in this time. At 29 years old, Nahor's son Terah was born. After the birth of his son, Nahor lived 119 years and had other sons and daughters in this time too. At 70 years old, Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. The history of Terah's family. Haran had a son named Lot. While Haran was still young, he died in Ur of the Chaldeans, where he was born. Meanwhile, Abram married Sarai, and his brother married Milcah, the daughter of their brother Haran. Milcah had a sister named Iscah. Sarai was not able to have children. Terah took his son to Abram, his daughter-in-law Sarai, and his grandson Lot. They all left Ur of Chaldeans to go to the land of Canaan. But instead they stopped at the village Haran and settled there. Terah lived for 205 years and died while still in Haran. The Lord then told Abram, "Leave your country, your relatives, and your father's house, and go to the land that I will show you. I will cause you to become the father of a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and I will make you a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed him, and Lot went with him. Abram left Haran at the age of 75 years old. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all his wealth, his livestock, and all the people that joined his household at Haran. They finally arrived in Canaan. As they traveled through Canaan, they came to a place near Shechem and set up camp by the oak of Moreh. At that time, the area was inhabited by Canaanites. The Lord then appeared to Abram and said, "I am going to give this land to your offspring." Abram then built an altar there to commemorate the Lord's visit. Abram then traveled southward and set up camp in the hill country between Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar and worshipped the Lord. Abram then traveled south by stages toward the Negev. At that time there was severe famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to wait it out. As he approached the borders of Egypt, Abram said to Sarai, "You are a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife. Let's kill him. Then we can have her.' But if you say you are my sister, then the Egyptians will treat me well because of their interest in you, and they will spare my life." And sure enough, they arrived in Egypt. Everyone spoke about her beauty. When the palace officials had seen her, they sang her praises to their king, the Pharaoh. She was then taken into his harem. Pharaoh then gave Abram many gifts because of her. Those gifts were sheep, cattle, donkeys, male and female servants, and camels too. But the Lord sent a terrible plague upon Pharaoh's household because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Pharaoh then called for Abram and accused him sharply. "What is this you have done to me?" he demanded. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why were you willing to let me marry her, saying she was your sister? Here is your wife, take her and be gone." Pharaoh then sent them out of the country under armed escort. Abram and his wife left with their household and belongings.